Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. So in this video we're going to be discussing the Evercade Alpha and what we think it might actually be. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the video. Okay guys, so Evercade Alpha was actually dropped onto Evercade's own website, albeit just the logo as you've seen at the start of the video. And it was actually dropped round about the time of the release of the pre-orders for Evercade, EXPR and VSR, which didn't really make a lot of sense to me at that point. I'm not sure if that was deliberate, accidental, not sure. All these leaks and drops, you start to think that they were probably deliberate. Probably wasn't, but you just definitely start to think it's got to be a deliberate ploy. But anyway, it didn't make an awful lot of sense. So obviously looking at the calendar, we've got some great announcements from Tomb Raider collection coming in July and the Thalamus collection, which I personally really love. And obviously we've got the two new consoles that were announced. The two new consoles make sense, then they don't make sense for me. The EXPR I get, given the fact that the Capcom license ran out on the original EXP, so they probably had to renew that, and thusly, obviously losing that license in the bundled games, they can probably sell it for a far cheaper price, and hopefully they have made some amendments to the original EXP. Probably the battery life would be a great big help, but time will tell whether they've made some decent enough changes to it anyway. So they've obviously rebundled it. Cheaper price, looks nice, I guess, but why the Evercade VSR? That one doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because we have enough VSs, it's not really different enough, it doesn't make any sense. That didn't come bundled with Capcom games. The only reason I can think of why they're doing that is because they're bundling it with the Tomb Raider collection. It's probably a bit of a selling point, I guess, for those maybe wanting the console rather than the EXP, but at the same time, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's probably a huge selling point. I think they're expecting to probably sell a lot of these consoles. But anyway, guys, as you can probably look at the calendar here, the releases are a little bit shy. There's not an awful lot of releases on the calendar, which probably points to a few things here that Blaze have no doubt spent a lot more money on licensing this year. Tomb Raider is the massive example there, and I'm pretty sure there could well be bigger on the horizon, especially if you look at the releases surrounding November, December, and obviously we have new hardware penciled in for November as well. Now, I'm not totally shocked we're getting new hardware, but the fact that we're getting maybe 4 new hardware in 2024 is a little bit surprising. What is the Evercade Alpha? No doubt that's what's going to be released in November, but why is there 2 new hardware? What is that all about? Will there be a console? Will there be a handheld as well? Not entirely sure. No doubt it's definitely going to be a console of some sort. So if you look at some of the handheld, the sort of wireless controllers, or the wired controllers, sorry, that are on the digital stores, it mentions Alpha, which means it's obviously going to be a console, but will it be a sort of combination of maybe like the Switch, for example? Obviously you can take the handheld out the sort of dock, that type of thing. I'm not really sure it's going to be like the Switch specifically. Pretty sure that there will be like a console. Perhaps you'll be able to put your Evercade handheld into it. Maybe it'll even be backwards compatible. You could maybe install the EXPR onto it or the original Evercade. Maybe even you could put onto the Super Pocket, and you can even play the games that are on the Super Pocket on your TV through the Evercade Alpha thing. Not entirely sure. That might be a little bit fanciful for me, but it could be possible. Maybe the Evercade Alpha is basically this all-round singing and dancing machine that we could do everything from. Not necessarily sure it's going to be like a digital thing. I don't think we're going to see a digital store as such. I think it certainly has signs that it could turn that way. Obviously, you see the library that gets added to the latest firmware updates. You can see all the games and carts that are out there. I don't necessarily think that that's going to suddenly turn into a digital store, but there could be a possibility where if you put your cart into the, maybe say the Alpha, and it would automatically download the games from that cart onto the console, thus you can obviously play them without having the cart. Not entirely sure that would be a route Blaze would want to go down. I would probably quite like it myself. I think that's quite cool. You could potentially install all your cartridges onto the Alpha and play them just directly without even needing the cart after you've downloaded it. Probably a bit daft. That might not make an awful lot of sense. If you had a console like that, you would probably need a decent amount of memory so that you could store all these games. So that would probably have a good few gig. Not entirely sure that would make a lot of sense. That would probably point to quite a high price as well. If there was a lot of memory on the sort of device, it would probably mean that you would need... obviously, it would be quite pricey, which kind of brings me to another point. If we do get an Evercade Alpha and what that entails, will there be package games like Capcom? Not necessarily saying we're going to get Capcom, but there could be something else. Maybe we'll even get a couple of bundled games, like we could have Sega, Konami, SNK, that type of thing. Maybe something we've not even thought of yet that could be included. Maybe we'll get the Taito and Capcom games all bundled into the one onto this console, which would be pretty cool. Again, I'm not really sure sort of Capcom and Taito want their sort of games on that, but not totally sure. Obviously, that is a bit up in the air. I think if we do get some bundled games with the VS, the price would certainly rocket. I mean, at the moment, I think we could be looking at £150, maybe even slightly more expensive than that. We could be approaching £200, depending on what the entails. But I think it will certainly be a bit more advanced, the Evercade Alpha. It'll probably maybe future-proof things a little bit. Maybe we'll get the handheld along with it with some thumbsticks and a few other things besides that. Not entirely sure. I mean, I think the design of the Evercade XP is really good. It's just a few things let it down. Ideally, you would probably want a bigger screen with a handheld. I think they probably stuck at the 4 or 5 inches, or the 4-inch, screen. It probably isn't ideal. I think when you sort of play games on things like the Steam Deck and the Switch, that screen is a lot larger. I'm not necessarily saying I want a Steam Deck size thing, because that's probably a bit too big. Somewhere maybe around about the Switch or thereabouts would be quite nice for playing these handheld games. But will it be a mix of a handheld and a console? We are not entirely sure. It would be nice if we got some sort of play and plug system compatible with the other consoles. That would be really nice. Like I said, but what this is going to be, I have no clue. Now, there's some interesting stuff there. If we look at the wired controller again, there's a little sort of button on that, and there is also a slot, which I'm not entirely sure what that means. Does that mean you're able to join that up to a handheld and play the handheld with a controller? Or maybe that's just basically adding a second player to handheld games. I'm not entirely sure. That does look very interesting. It's linking up something in some way. So maybe that could be something that's going to happen. Multiplayer link up with your sort of controllers, VSEs. I don't know. It's a bit confusing. Not sure what's going on there. I'm pretty sure, given the fact that we're going to have a little bit of a gap to the next releases. Obviously, this is May time at the time of this video. Got a couple of months before July before we get the next releases. So I think a lot of news will drop at this point. We will see probably what Evercade Alpha is. Perhaps we'll see what's coming in September, what's coming in November and December as well. Not an awful lot more carts to come this year. We've got 6 penciled in. Potentially we'll have some bundled games with the Evercade Alpha, I suspect. But obviously time will tell. But I actually think we might see some bigger games than even Tomb Raider. But what would that mean? What is bigger than Tomb Raider? That really is open to interpretation. Could that be a Doom collection? Not sure I want another Doom collection. That would be very cool, but we've played Doom in pretty much everything over the years. What about a Sonic collection? What about an SNK collection? Would that be bigger than Tomb Raider, though? Not totally clear. What about a Medal of Honor collection? Again, not sure if that would be larger than Tomb Raider. It really is difficult to see. I think one thing that would be bigger than Tomb Raider, in my eyes, right enough, would be like that Grand Theft Auto collection. The original sort of Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, and maybe even the London DLC that we got on the PlayStation. Could that be possible? Is that something that Blaze could spend a lot of money on and getting them onto a cart? That would be unbelievably cool. I can't think of many more things that are actually bigger than Tomb Raider or even similar. Resident Evil collections, who knows, maybe they've done another deal with Capcom. But like we said previously, they're not really that keen in getting the games on sort of consoles or even on a cartridge format, so that might not actually happen. Now, just to make one thing clear here, The new hardware that's coming in November is not Super Pockets. That will be completely separate. So we are expecting a couple of other Super Pockets as well this year. Might be 2 or 3. So that might get announced very soon as well. But that is completely separate to the Evercade brand. Even though it's obviously under the Blaze umbrella, they are completely separate. So again, there'll be something else completely coming from there. What that is, we have no clue. Certainly some interesting times ahead. I'm pretty sure the next few months will be filled with some news updates with the Evercade Alpha and what that actually could be. And hopefully we'll find out about the Super Pockets as well. Anyway guys, please, the point of this video is to try and get this out there and get your opinions on it as well. Let me know what you think we could see as part of Evercade Alpha. What will that be? Please let me know your thoughts, because obviously everyone will have a different idea of what that could be. I'm very interested to hear your opinions. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.